Welcome to the United States of Tiffany. Our commentary offers a humorous take on wrestling. Please note, we're not bullying or attacking the wrestlers. We're engaging with the choreographed sport and its storylines. Our jokes and observations are about the characters and storylines, not the real people behind them. Tourists and citizens alike, welcome. Enjoy the show, and remember, it's all in good fun.
Well, it's been a while since I've come back over here to talk about NXT, but I saw the show and it's time to have a little conversation. So, NXT is shaping up, of course. And of course, October 1st, the show that's going to end all shows. It's going to be the very first show that they're going to have on the CW. All of those matches are finally coming to fruition. Now, we're all waiting with bated breath to see what NXT is going to provide on the CW network. But we all know what is happening here. Okay? So let's start off with the big elephant in the room. CM Punk was on NXT today. We're not going to go in order. He was on NXT today, and of course, everybody thought he was going to be there for Roxanne and Julia, but that was not the case. However, we didn't get to find that out until just about, I'd say 14 minutes ago. But Roxanne, being the narcissist that she is, fully believed that CM Punk was there to give Julia some out when going up against her on October 1st, when in reality, he wasn't there for Roxanne in any capacity. Her coming out there and interrupting him was a mistake on her part because she's so full of herself and so overly confident. She believes that everything and anything that happens in NXT must be about her. She couldn't have been more wrong. But we never got the chance to hear that until the end of the show. And the reason why that was because Roxanne decided to come out and insult CM Punk. She at first tried to say that she admired him. He was her favorite wrestler. He was her voice because he was the voice of the voiceless. And then she proceeds to say that she should have been a CM Punk fan. He's going to lose his match against, she should have been a Drew McIntyre fan. He's going to lose his match to Drew, and he needs to be going home and worrying about that instead of coming here meddling in her business. It was beyond out of line, but it wasn't off brand for Roxanne. Acutely, the whole time that she was spewing all this bullshit, it was all for nothing. And I realized it the moment that he was standing there looking at her like, why are you here? I don't understand why you're out here. It was a very interesting way for CM Punk to bring himself into NXT. But he seemed a lot more happy than he did yesterday when he was on Monday Night Raw, which you can tell that CM Punk is very ecstatic when he is in NXT. It somewhat seems to reinvigorate him. It seems to be something that he really enjoys, the crafting of the new talent and the new crop of talent coming into the main roster. And I think that once CM Punk officially hangs up his boots, that NXT will be his home for a very long time. I'll venture out to say that if Shawn Michaels was ever give up the reins, CM Punk would probably be the next man to take that space. With that being said, CM Punk did say a few things to our narcissistic champion, Roxanne Perez, and he essentially said, he basically told her that in a few weeks she's not going to be champion, and he said he was coming out here to not necessarily talk about you, but since you're here we can praise you. He said after the match we saw on Monday with Bianca Belair and Io Sky, he said, I thought of one superstar who could come in and be great and be just as good, if not better, than those women. And he said that's definitely Roxanne Perez. But he said that chip on your shoulder and that gold on your shoulder is what is gonna be the downfall of you, essentially, which is true. To be fair, he did compare himself to her in terms of him having a chip on his shoulder and him being the same arrogant, overly confident, pompous style champion. In CM Punk's defense, though, he had every right to be a arrogant, pompous champion with a chip on his shoulder. No one expected him to ever be champion, and not even the people who gave him the title thought that he was going to be anything more than a flash in the pan. Roxanne, on the other hand, that's not her story arc, and that wasn't her rise to fame. But if you let her tell it, it definitely is. I don't know what's going on with her mentally, but she seems to have a skewed view of how she got her start in NXT and how well she was crafted in NXT, cradled, if I may say so myself. She was very much a favorite and was given a lot of opportunities that most girls in NXT couldn't even dream of, let alone get. But to hear Roxanne tell it, it was a hard fought battle. Anyways, Julia came out and told Roxanne that she had 2 more weeks to walk around as champion, and then there'll be no more conversations. So Julia walked away, and as she walked away, Roxanne tried to hit her in the back with the belt, but CM Punk stopped her. And she was very upset by that. She was like, "You need to get out of my way and stay out of my business." And he was just like, "Okay." Kind of blew it off. Um, so there was that. And CM Punk never really made his announcement, which, like I said, led me to believe that this announcement really had nothing to do with Roxanne, and she essentially made it about herself when she didn't have to. She could have just minded her own fucking business and stood in the back and listened to what everybody else said and listened to CM Punk talk just like everybody else did. But she couldn't help herself. She had to be out there because she's a narcissist. She can't help it. Let's talk about the first segment of the show. Trick Williams came out there in some Gucci loafers and a vest with no shirt on. As much as I love Trick Williams, I need him and him and Seth freaking Rollins don't never know how to invest in a shirt. I just need you to wear a shirt, babe. The outfit would have been real cute if he would have had a shirt on. But he don't ever wear a shirt. He is in love with himself, and I'm happy for him. I just need him to wear a shirt. All these abs. Right. Anyways, Trick came out there, signed the contract. Then Ethan Page came out there, talked a lot of shit, didn't sign the contract, and then put Trick Williams through a table. So for the rest of the night, we had to suffer through them trying to figure out how to get Ethan Page to sign the contract. For whatever reason, Tyrese Halliburton was there. I don't understand why he was there at all and why he needed to be the one to get Ethan to sign the contract. It just seemed like that was an unnecessary placement for him to even be there. It just was weird. It was so weird. I was like, what are you doing? Why are you here? Like, don't you have something to do? Somewhere to go? Places to be? something, but apparently not. So later on in the night, they finally came out there. Tyrese was able to get Ethan Page to sign the contract, and then CM Punk came back out. And CM Punk essentially told them that they needed this match is too special for them to just have a regular match. So he is going to be the special guest referee for their match, not Roxanne and Julia's. And I believe that is due to the integrity of the match for sure, more specifically for Julia's debut. So there's no asterisk over her win. Now, if Trick Williams wins, I know that Ethan Page is going to make a massive case about him being screwed by CM Punk, which is more than likely what's going to happen. And then these two will fight it out probably at Halloween Havoc, or they may push it out to the final pay per view of the year, which is usually the Iron Survivor Challenge. But I think that Paige and Trick will fight it out at Halloween Havoc rather than having them wait that long. Anywhoosies, they got into it, and essentially what CM Punk said as the referee is my match at my discretion. So y'all can fight it out right now. To which the boys did. They started scrapping, and then the rest came in to pull them apart. Ethan Page seems to have an extreme chip on his shoulder when it comes to Trick Williams, and I think I know why. Technically, he's never really pinned Trick Williams in any capacity for that championship. So Ethan does have something he has to prove here. Whereas Trick Williams has already pinned and beaten Ethan Page, Ethan Page has never pinned or beaten Trick Williams. So the only thing that Trick Williams has to do is beat Ethan Page and get his title back. Whereas Ethan has a little bit more of an uphill battle. He's got to prove he's better than Trick Williams. He has to beat him, and he has to back up all the bullshit he's been talking for the last couple of months. And that's a tough pill to swallow for anybody, especially for an egomaniac like Ethan Page. But I guess we'll have to wait and see how all of that is going to play out. Now, let's get into some of these matches that were on the card. The girls had a match, tag team fight. It was the two demons, Rosemary and Wendy Chu, versus one demon and her aerial best friend, Lyra Valkyria. They had a pretty decent match, not gonna lie. And I really like Tatum and Lyra as a tag team. If they decided to pull Tatum up to the main roster, I wouldn't mind Tatum and Lyra being a tag team to actually be able to challenge for those tag team titles and really strengthen that division. I think that would work out in their favor. Plus, they work really well with each other to curate their move set to work with them as two separate individuals, but also as great. They have a really good kinship in the ring with each other. And I wouldn't mind seeing them tag. Overall, Rosemary and Wendy did suffer a loss to Tatum and Lyra, and rightfully so, in my opinion. They've attacked Tatum multiple times, and Lyra's come to her rescue, but Tatum deserved this win, and I'm glad that she got it with somebody who actually wants to be her friend. It's pretty cool to see them out there together, and Tatum looked like she was in a happy place. Let's move on to the next women's match. Lola Vice faced off against JC Jane and her merry band of idiots. For whatever reason, Fatal Influence seems to think that they're the Forgotten Three, when in all actuality, out of the entire women's roster, the weakest one on their group is that Kardashian looking bitch, Jasmine. Fallon would be okay if she wasn't so fucking angry all the time. And JC Jane isn't a bad wrestler. She just has piss poor persona skills. And so does Fallon, if we're being fair. And Jasmine, she just there. She don't really exist. The way that they craft their promos is weird to me. I don't understand it. Y'all are on a losing streak. Let me reiterate. Y'all have not one match, except for one y'all had, and I think it was because Jasmine cheated for y'all. Other than that, y'all haven't won individually in about 2 weeks. Jasmine lost her match. Matter of fact, it's been three. Fallon lost her match when she had her match. Jasmine lost hers, and JC lost hers. All three of y'all lost the matches. You lost them. The only thing y'all were able to do at the end was attack and beat the girls up at the end. I guess to show and prove that y'all were the better women, but in all actuality, it didn't do anything but just prove that y'all are some sore fucking losers. With that being said, Lola is tired of your shit, and so is Jada Parker. Because if I recall, Jada beat Jasmine week before last, and they beat up Jada Parker. I think last week. I don't know if they had a fight last week. Either way, they some losers. Okay. JC lost today to Lola, and to be fair, Lola whooped your ass. And you know, I don't really care for Lola like that. So if I'm telling you Lola whooped your ass, she whooped your ass. Them strikes that girl was getting on you was lethal. And the way you almost broke your foot trying to kick that girl was some mess. Okay? Now Fallon's stupid ass is out there looking like she took all of the bronzer they could find and rubbed it all over her face. Her and that Kardashian looking bitch was running interference the whole time, and you still fucking lost. You're a loser. You are a loser, ma'am. This is sad. Between y'all and the strong coochie bitches on the main roster, I don't know who's worse. But y'all lost. Lola beat y'all, and before that, Lola and Jada Parker had words. Lola basically was like, well, Brindley was trying to tell her, like, hey, Jada got beef with her too. Why don't y'all like link up and try to do it? And Lola was like, she don't want my help and I don't want hers. I'm not trying to get in her mess and she not trying to get in mine. So it is what it is. Jada was like, I know you ain't got my name in your mouth, Lola. She was like, look, I don't know what she was like. I'm just telling you straight up. You told me you don't want my help, right? So when I go out there and I have my match, Fatal Influence is mine. I'm going after him. You can wait until the bell rings and then you can have your time. Jada did just that. Jada said, okay, cool. Sat in the back. When the match was over and they started jumping her and they was getting ready to take Lola out for real, Jada came out there. Jada attacked and got all of the girls out the ring and took all of them out. Now Lola got up and grabbed her and was like, what is you doing? And to be fair, Lola's in the wrong. Jada did exactly what she asked. She said, wait until I get done with my match. That's what she did. She ain't come out there to help you. She came out there to whoop their ass. So Lola, pull yourself together, girl. Trust, she wasn't coming out there to fight you. But y'all more than likely will have a match next week, which y'all both gonna get jumped by Fatal Influence. And they also are targeting Kaylani. Speaking of Kaylani, Charlie told Big Chin, what's her name? Ren Sinclair. Charlie told Big Face that she had to find her own way and she needed to start making a name for herself. All right, cool. But I would have been like, when fucking Born make a name for himself, then I'll make a name for myself. But until then, back the fuck up off me. You feel me? But anyways, Red said, okay, cool, I can do that. She went and found Kaylani while Kaylani was talking to the backstage correspondent. I don't really never know that lady name, so, and they all look the same to me. I'm sorry, but they all look the same to me. Anyways, she was back there talking to the backstage correspondent, and of course, Ren walked up to her and said, hey, Kaylani, listen, Charlie wants me to make a name for myself. So she slapped her. Slapped the shit out of Kaylani. And Kaylani said, oh, hell no. And ran after that big face bitch with all her might. I said, hell yeah, Kaylani, get that hoe. Now, in the midst of all of that, there was a match between Bourne, Tavion Heights, Javon Evans, and Cedric Alexander. They had a pretty decent match. Charlie was out there, but Ren wasn't because she spent most of her time running from Kaylani. Now, they was also in the midst of the match, as the match progressed, Ren came in there, caused a distraction, and this led to Javon and Cedric being able to divide and conquer. They got rid of Tavion, but Bourne was left in the ring. Bourne is the one who ate the pin by Javon Evans. And while that celebration was going down for Javon and Cedric, there was a tweet that popped up by Randy Orton. He says, "Hey Javon, want to know who your opponent is? See you in St. Louis on October 8th, kid. Hashtag WWE NXT." Now, what the announcement was earlier in the night was that Randy Orton wasn't just coming to NXT just to be a part of the show. He actually was going to compete on NXT, and he was going to compete against the new kid, Javon Evans. This match is set for NXT on the CW network for the second week that they're there, and they're still advertising it for St. Louis, Missouri. Now, I don't know if they're going to change it to St. Louis or if they're going to stay in Chesterfield. I'm not sure. But it looks like they're going to stay in St. Louis for now. If the ticket sales go up due to the fact that, more people are going to be there, they're going to have a lot going on. You never know what the ticket, if they can keep the venue big, they probably will keep it. But from what I understand, they were supposed to be moving it. But they keep advertising it as St. Louis, Missouri. So it looks like as of now, they're staying in St. Louis. With all that being said, one of the goats of our era of wrestling, Randy Orton, is wrestling one of the youngest up and coming talents in NXT, one of the best up and coming talents in NXT. That RKO over Javon Evans finna suffer is about to be nasty. I'm sorry, but it's happening. I can see it. Hello, how are you, Orlando? Welcome to my channel. All right, so what did I miss? I missed a few things. So I mentioned all the matches with the exception of what match did I miss? Oh, Tony D'Angelo went up against Alexander Hammerstone today. But I noticed that Tony was not really feeling it. And nobody's trying, and everybody couldn't understand what was wrong with Tony. Gerard is my witness. I told him exactly what was wrong. Tony is afraid. He went up against Oba. Oba took him out. He didn't like it, and he felt like he was a failure. So he was afraid to face off against Oba again, and he's afraid to wrestle anybody, it seems, at this point. Obafemi has shaken his confidence as the Don, and he feels like he's failed his family, and most importantly, he feels like he failed himself. And he walked out of the match with Alexander Hammerstone before the match could even really get going. He just left, and that was it. They counted him out, and Alexander Hammerstone won the match by count out. And the family couldn't understand what was going on. So they went in the back and they asked Tony, "What's going on? Why are you avoiding matches and not getting your lick back on Oba? Like, what is happening?" He's like, "Nothing." He kept evading the questions and he didn't want to have anything to do with what they were asking him. But they kept pressuring him. And then he made the announcement that he was afraid. That he was afraid that he was going to fail again, afraid that he was going to get beat down, afraid that he wasn't going to look strong like the Don that he's supposed to be. And he walked away. Later on in the night, Adriana came to him and gave him the pep talk he needed. Essentially, what she told him was that no matter what happens, you'll always be the Don and you'll still have your family. He says, "What if I lose?" And she says, "Then you lose." But the fear is what should drive you to want to do better and be great. That fear should make you want to prove that you are better than this. And she says, "I know that you're not a quitter." He agreed. So she was like, "Maybe we go and get some different training." And he said, "Okay." And she was like, "Well, let's do this." So it seems Tony is trying to regain his confidence. It's something that a lot of people go through, similar to what happened with Wesley. And speaking of Wesley, we finally saw what happened with Wesley and Trey Miguel. You see, Trey Miguel went back home to Dayton, Ohio, and okay, that's cool. He went back home to Dayton, Ohio, and when he was in the parking lot, Wesley did some thug gangster shit. The video shows Wesley being very much on some hood nigga shit and attacking um and attacking Trey Miguel in his car. It looked like he slammed either his leg or head or just body in general in the door of the car. It's a very brutal attack from what we saw, right? It looked brutal, and that was what it was supposed to have gave, right? This video was introduced by Zachary Wentz, by the way, who took over the show for just a hot second. After the video was played, he made it very clear that he was not going to leave any doubt at the first show on October 1st on the CW network. He was going to decimate Wesley, not only for himself, but for his brother, Trey Miguel, and he was going to end this. He essentially said, I don't know what you're mad about. Are you mad that we were able to succeed without you? Are you mad that you weren't a part of it? Or are you just mad that NXT's Golden Boy got pinned to the mat in No Mercy the last time I saw you? And he was like, you need to get used to that because it's going to happen again on October 1st. He said he's going to take him out. Wesley responded and was like, listen, I was on vacation in Ohio, just living my best life. And I happened to come across Trey and we had words. It wasn't that serious. He was very much on some bullshit. Do you hear what I mean? It was messy, honey. It was so messy. And he was just like, man, I did it. I took him out, and I did it because I didn't want to have no interference in this street fight. I wanted it to be a full, true one-on-one bout, and it will be. And I'm gonna end this, brother. And that's how he left it. He is a petty king, child. Petty to the max. Okay. And I think that's everything. I think I covered everything. Oh, Brooks went up against Deion Lennox. Deion Lennox lost because Brooks was, because Sean Spears' stupid ass was out there. Sean Spears is low-key crazy. His eyes is lifeless. When you look in his eyes, he ain't got no life in his eyes. It's weird. But anyways, that was pretty much it. That was all that happened. And there was some little vignettes and stuff backstage, but there wasn't really much going on other than that. NXT was a pretty simple show, short and sweet, but it was a good show. It had good segments. They had decent matches. There were nice palate cleansers in between. You really could it really gave you a nice settling moment with NXT, the way that they are setting this up. Okay. Now, outside of the show, we saw a vignette between A-Town Down Under and Axiom and Frazier. And essentially is what they did was challenge Axiom and Frazier to the tag team titles. So next week, it's going to be the Grayson Waller effect, and Axiom and Frazier are going to be on their show. And then on the second week of their time in the CW network, they're going to have their titles challenged by A-Town Down Under. So that's when we'll see them fight on NXT. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be interesting. Now, Sexy Red is also supposed to be there for the second week of them being on the CW network, because they're going to be in St. Louis, and this is where Sexy Red is from. She's a big fan of NXT, so she will be showing up again. Also today, we heard that Saturday night's main event is returning, and the very first episode of this will be on December 14th, 2 days after my birthday, on a Saturday. And I usually party on Saturdays for my birthday. Nobody likes wrestling in my family except for my family and me. My cousins and my husband's cousins, they don't watch fucking wrestling. Plus, I don't think I'm gonna have a Harry Potter party with them anyway. It's just gonna be me and you, right?
That's what you said you wanted.
Why you gotta say it like that, Darren?
No, I'm just saying that's what you said you wanted. That's how I thought that was the game plan.
I was thinking about inviting other people. Maybe.
Yeah.
You don't want me to invite nobody?
It's your birthday. You do what you want.
I don't want to be Harry Potter. I just want to be me with my robe on and my wand. That's all I want. And my big flask of butterbeer. That's what I want. Anyway. If y'all ain't got nothing to do on a Saturday on December 14th, I highly recommend that you watch it. It seems like they're going to be, since it's going to be Saturday night main event, they're going to be in Long Island, New York, and this is going to be the first time that they have done this in a very long time. Tickets go on sale in 2 days. These are the pre sale tickets. They will officially go on sale on September 20th. So, in 3 days, you'll be able to buy your tickets to go, and it seems like most of the major stars will be in attendance of Saturday night's main event on December 14th. All right. So they have finally dropped the graphic for Bad Blood's tag team match with the the bloodline, or the new bloodline, versus Roman and Cody Rhodes. So this match is official. It is happening on Saturday, October 5th. The first week of October is going to be a very, very interesting week, because you're going to have the very first debut of NXT on the CW network, and then that Saturday you're going to have WWE's Bad Blood. So a lot is going to be going on. Wrestling is fun again, people, and it is a lot going on. But I hope you guys enjoyed my recap or the after show of NXT. If I miss anything, I'll try to cover it when I go live tomorrow. But when I go live tomorrow, we're going to talk about Bad Blood and the potential addition of matches that they could add. Always going to talk about wrestling. And I have one more little piece of tea that I saw. So Hikuleo is signed to WWE, and WWE seems to be waiting to debut him on the roster. They don't want him to go to NXT, so he will debut on the main roster. And it seems that the plan is for them to debut Hikuleo at Survivor Series. So that's the plan. At least that's the rumor. Let's go with that's the rumor that they're giving. So I don't know when Hikuleo is going to show his face and actually show up, but there are some people who should be showing up very soon on the brand. Motor City Machine Guns have also signed to WWE. They are officially a part of NXT, and I think that they're probably going to make their debut at the St. Louis show for the CW network's second episode of NXT. And of course, the Ray Phoenix and Penna, I believe it is Penna Zero, are supposed to debut on the main roster, and they're supposed to debut sometime soon as well. So there's a lot going on in the WWE, ladies and gentlemen, and we don't know where people are going to end up, but we are excited for how things are going to go, and hopefully Triple H will finally get this mid-card division together and this tag team division together and start letting them run a little piece of these shows so things can be fun again and not so weird. Okay? With all that being said, we'll dive more into wrestling tomorrow when we have more time to talk. For now, I will see you guys tomorrow, and we'll talk about all those things and whatever else they decide to throw at us. And maybe we'll do some current events tomorrow, because there's some shit that hit the fan today that is absolutely batshit bonkers. And if you think I'm talking about Diddy, you right. You are right. We'll talk all about that tomorrow when we get done talking about wrestling. And of course, like I always do at the end of the show, we will do the SBC chat so we can hear what other shenanigans people are getting themselves into and how crazy people are. Orlando, if you're still listening and watching, you asked me who my favorite wrestler is. And to be honest with you, I don't really have favorites. I have people that I like, I have people that I enjoy, but that depends on how they present themselves in the ring. But if you're asking me if I have an all-time favorite, I would say one of my favorites for sure is Big E. It always has been. I love Big E. I've been in love with Big E since the first time he showed up on the roster. Um, I am a massive Cody Rhodes fan. I've always been a Cody fan. I love Wes Lee. I'm a big fan of Zachary Wentz. I have been for quite some time. On the women's side, I love Sol Ruka in NXT. I think Kaylani Jordan is really coming into her own. Jada Parker is great. Lash Legend is amazing. Lola Vice is a good wrestler. I will give Lola that, but she's not one of my favorites, and I'm not really a fan of her in that way. but I will respect what she brings to the table. I actually really like Fallon, but Fallon gets on my goddamn nerves right now. And really, outside of all of that, I love Tatum. I like Lyra Valkyria, main roster rise. I'm a big fan of Jade Cargill, big fan of Bianca Belair. I absolutely adore Naomi. I don't have favorites. I just have wrestlers that I like and people that I see that I really enjoy watching. I mean, everybody loves Seth freaking Rollins. Everybody loves Damian Priest, and I love them too. They're great. So I just enjoy the sport, and there are people that I'm going to cling to, but I don't really have a favorite per se. So I hope that answers your question. I know that wasn't as direct as it could have been, but I hope that answers your question. He says mine is Seth Rollins, Damian Priest, and Pete Dunne, and I have more. Well, it looks like you'll fit right in with the family because just about everybody who watches and follows me loves all three of these wrestlers. So you're right at home. So I hope you come back tomorrow when we have a little bit more freedom to talk more. And if you guys are new and you're watching this in the playback, welcome to the United States of Tiffany. You can be a tourist or you can be a citizen. It's totally up to you. Also have membership packages. You guys can go ahead and check out the membership. I set it the lowest that I could. And very soon, this October, you're going to be seeing some new content from me for members only, of course. I'll see you guys then. Bye.